This is an account of personal experiences in the hip-hop family and culture and a continuation to my 2003 interview on hip-hop culture titled Stylordz Hip Hop Network, expressing views on the universal culture of hip-hop. The interview in 2003 was about hip-hop roots with the attempt to teach those who did not know beyond what is popular. How hip-hop came from hard conditions and struggles at various times, impacting those who live within it. Not talking about listeners and fans. Explaining that it is a culture because many fail to realize it is. The interview was done the same month I was featured on CanWebTv, the first online multi-channel video podcast business worldwide developed in Canada. I was the first interview and delivered the same true school hip-hop message. And in 2005, among the first to ever have music videos play on cell phones worldwide. At the time, many said it was not possible. Now in 2024, most of the world is doing and viewing some kind of podcast on computers and phones. I share certain experiences as the pioneers of hip-hop in terms of bringing something new, revolutionizing the way things are done globally. I have been a key participant at the forefront of various cusps of revolutions. Podcast, weed law, and hip-hop adventures that lead to grand visions and projects within hip-hop elite. In the year 2000, I did a compilation CD with various artists in the Stylordz network. 3 things had significant progress. An artist was signed to Sony, ATV, then Hollywood Records. Another signed to Reggae Europe, and songs we made promoted the legalization of weed, which happened in Canada. A song called Stylordz Spearhead promoted breakdance into the Olympics. Same time, Supernatural's crew rose to international dominance. Very interestingly, in the year 2000, while creating the song, on the other side of the world, the future Olympic gold medal champion B-Boy Bumblebee was born. In Canada, B-Girl Emma was born. She got second place in the Olympics in 2018. I also produced the only breaking full instructional videos on and offline in Canada, among other things. Studio, production, editing, directing, filming, financing, etc. In 2007, members of my crew helped organize a breaking event for the Guinness World Record, and Canada attained the first ever breakdance 24 hours event win. Throughout the event, I was interviewed by the hosts about my views on breaking and hip-hop. In the early 2000s, a high-ranking Zulu member named Lord Yoda X noticed. One time I was in America and Yoda was at the front of the event. I did not know he was Zulu Nation, but hearing him say it, I approached him and introduced myself. To my surprise, he already knew. This makes it the 3rd time I was in contact with Zulu, the first being the Zoo Bar event with Crazy Legs in 1995 and Rocksteady Anniversary NYC in 1998. I am among the first worldwide that promoted true school hip-hop online and the first in video streaming format to do so. I have always advocated for hip-hop culture and the unity of all elements. I wanted to start a Zulu chapter in Canada, and he agreed. I started to attend the Meeting of the Minds in NYC. For years, Lord Yoda X has been the channel voice for me within the higher ranks. Technically, he is co-founder of Zulu North. A special time was in 2005 at the Meeting of the Minds. We waited for Bambaataa to reach. This would be the first time I ever seen him in person. We waited, and as soon as he entered the room, we approached. Introduced myself, with Yoda, had a quick dialogue. Someone jumped out of nowhere superhero style and took a picture. I went up to the person and asked for a copy. He said yes and took my email. He goes by the name of Joe Conzo. The first picture of the night followed by others forming the lineup. A picture containing people who are all at the root discussions leading to libraries, museums. I was asking, why is there no central place for true school hip-hop history to be publicly displayed? I noticed they needed an official central place to educate and promote hip-hop culture. Every time they heard of or seen me, I was troubleshooting, promoting, and giving ideas. I never joined the Zulu Nation as a fan. I have always been provoking them into action. The plan to start a hip-hop library eventually morphed into the Universal Hip Hop Museum and now many hip-hop museums. A few decades ago in the 1990s, I ran hip-hop institutes and taught many artists, dancers, some who are now successful. I have designed logos representing hip-hop culture elements. A logo you can find the Hip-Hop Museum using now. Another Stylordz logo of the same nature with the same message united. When I met high-ranking members, I always stressed the importance of having a hip-hop institute, since they call it a culture. Invented a Zulu zodiac logo and a unique esoteric hip-hop hand sign that cannot be found through all history. I did sign up for the Temple of Hip Hop in the mid-1990s, but the only thing I did in relation to it in approximately 2008 was co-produce and promote a tribute Temple of Hip Hop album featuring artists worldwide. During 2011 and 12, I offered a building for pioneers to invest in and use for the Hip Hop Museum, a time when in New York they were still trying to find a place. Bambaataa said it needs to be in the NYC. I still think something could have been done. Certain parts of the was building for me a hip-hop center, but also contained a unity church of all religions, community center, shelter, etc. Bambaataa did visit once with DJ Hectech. In 2011, I interviewed the main person responsible to advocate legalizing of weed in Canada. The only unrestricted interview in existence. His name is Michael Baldessaro. In the mid-2000s, while Zulu was regaining strength in the public eye, if you Googled the name Zulu Nation, you would see for at least 5 years straight Zulu North listed on the first page in the top 1 or 3 spots consistently, showing we were the biggest promoters at the time. We have all the records. I never thought there would be a scandal, controversy to follow. Things that popped out of nowhere about alleged illicit activities. I have no knowledge of anything in that area, only seeing them in person a few times. I have been consistent online via email, inbox, and other social media outlets, giving ideas and motivating as an efficiency expert. When I joined, I said it was to contribute and not just be a member that wanted an autograph. Catching the attention of major players in the true school hip-hop ranks that responded to many of my posts and actions. I announce things and they make it happen many times over. Started strong debates and deep research. Not just in music, but the culture. I isolated the disco to hip-hop origins. Pointed out that breakdancers are the reason Kool Herc did the merry-go-round. Meaning breaking is at the beginning of the world. If you erase breaking from its history, then it is simply a disco party because DJs and parties already existed. The only thing that clearly separates a hip-hop party from other existing parties is the breakdance and breakbeats. The youth language and emerging dress style. Later, the MC became an important part. Still, it was the breakers that broke down the door. Many hip-hop elites may not publicly admit, but the EVIDDE and CE shows. I said and did everything out in the open. Lord Yoda X has always been promoting the Black Spades contribution and Disco King Mario, etc. My earliest interviews always about the root creation and reason for hip-hop. Many are now on the same deep dive research tip. Many now have YouTube channels with the narrative doing an amazing job. Documentaries on the rise. These are not attempts to change the history. It is to fill in the blanks. Because the way it was taught only shows the party fun foundation to a culture that is now being destructive in its outlet. Adding Disco King Mario does not take away from the hip-hop trinity. He is representative of the higher executive position in the culture. The education and community part. The only visible pioneer that actually treated it like a culture outside of song and dance. Even his errors can be used when teaching other aspects of society, such as drug use and its consequences. More to come about Disco King Mario in the near future. I find that hip-hop teachers are the same as naive hip-hop listeners in certain areas. When you are promoting, they get agree if you discover or present something they did not. They feel like it is a competition for who is the real knowledgeable one, etc. What I really found crazy is certain pioneers saw and treated me as competition. Ever since the beginning of hip-hop in Zulu Nation, they never had a member join influencing the hip-hop elite to act in ways which lead to successful reunification attempts, creating some of the greatest projects of all time and digging up information that has been latent since its beginning. Aside from all the progress, I am not happy to see the alleged scandals, true or false, that appeared and still being uncovered throughout hip-hop like freak parties. Making me wonder about this whole hip-hop entertainment thing. The more I hear it, the crazier it sounds. 1 minute it is one person, then it is others, then it is some of the biggest names. This highlights the need to promote the culture part of the culture as foundation with the fun parts. Certain histories need to be promoted, like ground-level grassroots struggles to get hip-hop recognized. The having fun part of the culture as its foundation lead to all kind of illicit behavior. Allegedly, party dance, sing dance some more with no education. Created by youth and using the same youthful mind well into adulthood. Adult teens. They look down on the negative hip-hoppers, and it allegedly turns out some are doing similar things in a worse ways. Not all of them. Hypocrisy among elder hip-hoppers justifies the actions of the youth that follow them. Some did exactly the opposite of what they said outside of industry success. Over the years, I've helped many artists, authors, dancers, martial artists, pioneers, etc. Behind the scenes, while innovation and sticking with promotion and innovation in culture elements with unity, to structure the culture. One of the reasons I approached Zulu and not a record label. People learned more about contributors to culture in the last few years than they did the whole of their time studying. Many have contributed and noticed their contributions to the culture. It must be known that the foundation is from the pre-existing disco funk dance culture that all the pioneers feed off of to create hip-hop. And most of the pioneers used to break dance and need to speak up about it. They have been holding back a major contributing element to hip-hop's existence, the dance. I am among the central influencers creating the Hip Hop 50 celebration and for the whole year's a main grassroots promoter. Also Podcast 21 and Weed Law 71, all grand revolutions worthy of notice. I did speak in front of the pioneers and their peers, some who have by action already acknowledged that I am correct. There has been an attempt to suppress the records via social media channel attacks various times, but they failed because it caused others to do even deeper research with great findings. Many ignore the facts because hip-hop is almost like a religion to them. Even if that is the case, imagine a religion with party as its foundation. For all I stated, we have all records. I would like the original pioneers officially give Canada its props for being central in various new developments, symbols and directions in turmoil in hip-hop culture, as well as being the first country to have rappers delight at the #1 spot on the radio. Meaning we as a whole were more hip to and hopped on the new sound before all else, including the United States. I encourage the pioneers to take concrete actions towards the culture, setting records straight, creating central places. Over the years, hip-hop has proved as a unified culture can produce amazing results. In totality, I appreciate the whole experience. Respect goes to all who participated. Capital Architect TRXV Stylordz, PJV, Stylordz Network, Esoteric Arts Z North.